This is Glasgow's current town centre.
Uh-huh.
Like the main.
So we're off with Sean on our run with Christmas present from Tia Tanya.
So we're going to stop at a few of these street art murals as we're going. These are a legacy of the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. So in 2014 Glasgow had the Commonwealth Games and lots of money came in, you know, they built them. But if they got, you know, someone else to come in, they might tag over it because it's not someone local. So I'll get a photo.
Nice.
I'll get a photo in front of this. This is going like east just now, east of the city centre. Glasgow's kind of split into 4 areas. You've got the city centre, you've got the West End, which is more affluent, so it's nicer. So that's where you ran yesterday, along the river. That's the nicer, leafier part. A lot of Chinese and American students, especially in the West End, because university is free to anyone who lives in Scotland. It's more expensive if you're from Europe. It's a little bit more expensive if you're from overseas. Streets are very, very straight and neat. It wasn't always like that. The original main street of Glasgow is this one here. So this is called High Street. So you can see it curves.
Yeah.
It's not the same as the nice straight streets there.
Yeah.
That's because at the top of this street is the Cathedral. The city centre moved. It's because there was a huge fire here in the 1600s. So because the city had been growing quite quickly, there was lots of buildings, lots of them made of wood and thatch. And so there was a huge fire, everything burned down, and when they decided to rebuild, they moved the city centre slightly west to where George Square is, and then from there planned everything out nice and neatly. So even though Glasgow is about 1,500 years old, the city centre is only 300 years old. That's the coat of arms. So that's St Mungo, kind of without his hipster beard. Then that's the bird, the bell, the fish, and the tree. So that's the little robin. So yeah, so those 4 symbols are the symbols of St Mungo. And you'll start to see that on everything. It goes on the lamp, the bus stops, split out. And yeah, you start to get bored of it once you see it. So this is a hospital. But originally, before this was built, there was a castle here, and it was destroyed. It fell into disrepair. It was about the same age as the Cathedral. That's again the same symbol. So that's the Glasgow coat of arms, and then that's inside the merchant's house symbol. So that's what was on the building at the very start, the ship and the globe. And the reason that this is here is because the merchants built this graveyard. So this is one of the projects, as well as the river and schools and things. This is one of the projects that the merchants built to try and improve the city, but also to make money. So everything they did, they also did it to make money from. So the reason this graveyard exists is in the 1800s there was a big problem with grave robbing, as in people would dig up dead bodies, sell the bodies to the hospitals, universities to use for dissections or experiments to head up here. And so this was just a park. Then in about 1830, the merchants saw a business opportunity and thought, why don't we turn this into a graveyard and we'll build tunnels, catacombs underneath, and then we can sell the spots to the other rich Victorians, so they've got like safe burial spots. So that's what they started doing. That's what those orange gates were. But the government then passed new laws, because at the time it was totally legal to dig up a dead body. There's nothing against it. Then the government changed the laws and made it totally illegal, stopped hospitals from buying dead bodies. And so the merchants abandoned the tunnel idea and turned it into the normal overland graveyard that you see now. So there are no tunnels underneath this. The guys started digging one. Now it's just used for storing lawnmowers and gardening equipment.
So these are also then like 100, 200 years old?
Yeah, 190 is the oldest one.
190?
Yeah, most of them will be from, 1850 to 1900. That kind of same period where Glasgow was getting very, very wealthy, the end of the Victorian era.
Wow.
So it's not used anymore. It's not been used for about 10 years. But the merchants still made loads of money from it, because all the rich Victorians wanted to buy, the best spots.
Wow, who was here? Malcolm? Sacred something.
So all these people buried up here would have been very, very rich, compared to normal Glaswegians. We'll pause here. You get a much better view of the cathedral from here.
Wow.
From the front it seems quite small.
Yeah.
And then when you get up here you realise how long it is, how big it is. Sometimes get a good sunrise here, not today. It seems to have just really spoke about what happened to Glasgow when it started to decline.
Oh yes.
So, by the 1900s it was really overcrowded, but there were loads of jobs, loads of industries. So after trade, because the river was such a perfect location for ships, they started building factories there during the Industrial Revolution. And so the river was covered in ports and docks, shipbuilding factories, train building factories, all sorts of chemical works. And after the First World War, everything just disappeared and collapsed. Any idea what it used to look like?
Well, it says leisure centre, so maybe...
It's not a leisure centre, so
Oh.
it's now
Storage?
it's now a market on the bottom floor, and that's a market, but the Barras is a music venue. So it's a famous, it still is, a famous music venue. It was originally, so this is a market, like an open air fruit and veg market. It's called the Barras. Because it was built as a Victorian dance hall, it has a sprung floor, as in the floor is bouncy, almost like a gymnasium. So if it's busy and the crowd's jumping up and down, the whole floor bounces like a trampoline. So you can be at the bar, standing still, and you're still getting thrown up and down in the air. So yeah, so up until maybe the 2010, it was still the main place to play in Glasgow. But now it's been replaced. Now there's a big venue called the Hydro, which is on the river here. It's super busy. So it's only New York, London, sometimes Manchester are busy. Yeah, this is a list of people who've played at the Barras over the years. So it shows you can't really see this because this is
Simple Minds, Cardigans.
but you can
Is it
see
sorted by year? 1999,
it's
2000?
random.
Random.
It's totally random. So it's supposed to be like a record band. So it's
Ah.
random colours and random order and swing. And it shows you some of the kind of people that have played there over the years. So when you start to get up into it, so there's Eminem in 1999. So in that tiny little venue. Would have been much shallower, would have had rocks and islands in it. It's this that the merchants dredged, and so they could get the ships in from the city centre. So the reason they created that was so that kind of predated train lines. So they used the canal system to ship goods from the city centre over to Edinburgh, over to the other coasts. So this is the narrow part of the river. Like this is quite far inland.
Yeah, now you say it, now I recognise him.
Yeah, definitely to recognise him without his beard until you know. That's why it's called Billy's Beer Garden. So this is us at the St Enoch Centre. Have you been on the subway?
We haven't been, we heard it's just a circle, and so you can't really go wrong.
Yeah, if you miss your stop, you stay on. This is us on Buchanan Street. So the top of Buchanan Street, so we'll go up here and we'll finish back at the same starting point. This is one of the main shopping streets in Glasgow, but you get much more of the really high-end shops over that way. Glasgow used to be really good for shopping. It was like the busiest city outside of London. During COVID, that's all kind of disappeared.